the information that you use to come up with 15 to 18 million, that data is not listed, and you don't tell us anything about that data, do you, in this economic impact statement?
With our information we pulled together, we projected that amount of cost savings as an estimate, and that's what we listed as our projected savings.
Number 10 does not ask for cost savings, does it? It asks for data and methodology, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so where is the data and the methodology that you use to come up with the estimates? It's not in the economic impact statement, is it? And it's before you right there.
The numbers that we used to create this document through our research were created internally with projections, and so then we listed the concise information from.
You listed your conclusion.
Yes.
Your conclusion was that you were gonna save 15 to 18 million dollars, but you don't tell us what numbers you use to get to these numbers, do you?
No.
And wouldn't that be important in an economic impact statement for us to really test the validity of whether you would save 15 to 18 million?
I completed the requested information as I saw that it was asked for.
Now, did you write this, Dr. Dent?
Yes. I put that there.
Okay,
Yes.
and before the date that's listed on this, did you write it around October 19th or thereabout, or had you previously written that information before?
This information, this was, as I said yesterday, we had written other documents and created other pieces of information to for FAQs and information that we used within the agency to create information.
So yesterday you said it took you about a day or so to complete the economic impact statement.
To get it together, yes.
And you did some cutting and pasting from other documents, didn't you?
Yes.
To get the information contained in this document, right?
Yes.
Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, this outside scope.
Your Honor, it's not outside the scope of reader, right? He went through this whole statement with her, and she testified about, and she just testified that she used other documents. And so we should be, I mean, he testified, he asked her yesterday about how much time she had spent coming, doing the document, and she went on to say months. She had put months worth of work into this. Yeah.
I'll overrule it. You may ask. Yes.
You recognize that document?
Yes.
Okay, what is that document?
A letter to Senator Butler.
Okay. And, who wrote that letter?
Our team did.
Your team?
Yes,
Who
so
is it?
several people in our team, our
Okay.
division.
You participated in writing that letter?
Yes.
Okay, and that letter had been written on, what's the date on that letter?
August 29th.
Okay, and that's over a month and 45 days nearly before you wrote the economic impact statement. September, and then October.
Yes.
And when you did the economic impact statement, you went and y'all copied this from the letter that had been written to Mr. Butler.
Excuse me, for the record, so you can make a reference to what you're
Okay.
talking about.
For the record, on page 3, the second paragraph of, under 10, where it says MDHS contacted the state of Louisiana to discuss experiences concerning the implementation and operation of their biometric system. You copied that directly from Mr. Butler's, letter, didn't you?
Yes.
And this, on page 4 of the economic impact statement, you copied that directly from the statement that you had written to, Senator Butler, right? If you look at page 2 of Senator Butler's letter.
Yes.
And then on this, you copied that directly from Senator Butler's letter, didn't you?
When you referring to.
And this is the last paragraph on page 4, the ECC automation known as Mississippi e-Childcare. So when you were doing this economic impact statement, how much time did it take you to cut and paste from Senator Butler's letter to the actual economic impact statement? How much time did it take you to transfer this information from that letter to the economic impact statement?
I don't remember I put more into it than just copying and pasting those 3 paragraphs.
Well, on those 3, that's what we're talking about now. On those 3, would you say you said it took you about 24 hours of work to do the whole document, correct?
I think I said a day and a half.
You think what?
I think I said a day and a half.
Now it's a day and a half.
Or a day.
Your objection, Your Honor?
Sustained.
Okay, so my question though to you, Dr. Dent, how much time did it take you to cut and paste this portion from the letter that had been written to Senator Butler to place it into the economic impact statement?
For those 2 paragraphs, it probably took me just a few seconds.
And you would say it took you just a few seconds to take this information to the third, on page 3, that paragraph, it would just be a few seconds?
For that 1 paragraph, yes, a few seconds.
So when you were doing this economic impact statement, which area did you spend the bulk of your time on?
I spent time on the whole entire document because I wanted to make sure that it had all the information that it was requesting for each item that was requested for the statute.
But you left out the data and methodology that you used to come up with the numbers.
I do not feel that I did.
Okay. Well, tell me then, where in this document, and you have it before you, can we find the data and the methodologies that you used to come up with your estimates on savings?
I feel that I put that information in there
Do you feel like?
as through the results of our research.
Okay. Well, show me where it is in the document.
The results of our research is in the last paragraph.
Okay, so the results of your research only led you to the estimates and not to the data and the methodology that you used to come up with it?
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, Yana, in order to come up with an estimate,
Rephrase the question.
in order to come up with an estimate, do you have to have data and methodology?
We had data to come up with the estimates.
But you don't tell us what the data is, do you? To come up with these estimates?
We reported the results of the data
you're gonna save, and tell me if I'm wrong, if you're gonna save $15 to $18 million in, overall childcare costs by eliminating false claims, would you have to have somebody committing that much fraud to save that much?
We're not sure of how much, we can't penciling an exact amount. We feel that through the project and through the processes that we have now, that it is very possible that fraud is being committed. And with the identification of fraud through the program integrity, that we, feel like we could serve more children with further identification of fraud.
So is that the data that you use? Very possible? Because in order to save $15 million by eliminating false attendance claims, you would have to have $15 million worth of fraud being committed, correct?
No, we were estimating the possible level of fraud with other programs, from the research that we went through with Louisiana and other states that we talked to.
Okay. But we have no, all you have is did you say qualitative or quantitative? We don't have any quantitative data. We have qualitative data, right? Is that what you rely on?
We have both.
Okay. So where is the quantitative that you use to come up with the 15 to 18 million?
We reported the results of our research.
Have you ever reported to HHS that DHS had no information from which it could estimate the amount of false attendance claims that occurred in Mississippi?
Sounds good. Are you ready now?
No, it goes directly to this issue of the data and methodology, as she reported to HHS that they had no data to come up with a number, but then they said they could save $15 to $18 million.
You may ask.
Did you ever report that to HHS?
Can you repeat the question?
Did you ever report to HHS that you could not provide an estimate on the amount of false claims that were occurring in Mississippi?
We, through the information that we submitted to HHS, I don't remember if we could possibly have done that we said that we couldn't report a number. We've estimated our numbers.
Dr. Dent, did you ever see Louisiana's economic impact statement?
No.
Okay. Wouldn't that be important to you if you're gonna use their data and methodology to see their economic impact statement?
No, because we were creating our own.
But you were creating your own child care or finger scanning program, but you went to Louisiana to see how theirs works, correct?
Yes.
So you just pick and choose what you wanna consider from Louisiana. In Mississippi, child care, providers who, have vans that go out and pick up the children and bring them to the centers for child care won't be able to do that any longer, correct?
Not object, this has nothing to do with the economic impact statement.
It does, Your Honor, it goes to cost, and he's asked her about cost.
Well, it is something that should have been brought out on the record. I overruled it to make the record.
They will still be able to participate in the program.
Okay, but the parents will have to bring the children to the school, correct?
No, they can come and do check in and check checkouts, when they pick their children up, they can do a previous checkout if they come pick them up that afternoon, but if not, they can come in once a week and be able to conduct all the check-in and check-outs for that week.
Now, if a person comes in, and don't you say in your, policy manual that if you come in repeatedly and do, check in and check out for times missed, that's gonna be flagged as fraud?
No, it's not, we look at that, but it's not flagged as fraud.
So now you're telling childcare providers that they can continue to go out and pick up the children?
Yes.
Okay, now, you said on, when you were being questioned by Mr. Miracle about the benefits of biometrics, you said biometrics will let you know in real time that the child is in the school, correct?
Yes.
That's not true, is it?
For the majority of the children that are in care, that is true.
It's not true because who scanned it? You don't have the child scanned, do you?
No, the parent or the guardians or designees are scanned.
So the most of it, biometrics is going to show us that you had somebody to scan a child in, correct?
Yes.
So that this system is susceptible to fraud just like the EBT card is.
In some situations it could be, but not all situations, because the majority of our children, parents bring into the centers. And so the
we're-
ones that, there's a few providers that offer van services, and we'll know who those providers are because we'll be able to identify the previous check-in, check-outs.
But the point is, Dr. Dent, the scan does not tell you that the child is at the center, does it?
For most of the children, it does.
Well, how does the scan tell you that the child is at the center when you have either the parent's fingerprint or the fingerprint or finger scan of 4 other people? It tells you, biometrics tells you that somebody scanned their
Yes.
finger in. That's how, it doesn't tell you who is at the center, does it?
It tells us that the parents scan the machine.
Okay. So, if parents wanted to cheat, would you suggest that here in Mississippi that parents have been cheated? If they want to cheat and collude with childcare providers, they could just have one of their 4 designees to come in and scan, correct?
They could.
And
but-
that would tell you if they.
Okay, let her finish.
Okay, go ahead.
But we also have, within our system, we also have, some of the staff that will spot check and will have monitoring spot check.
Well, that's why you said the EBT wouldn't work, right? Because you would have to have people to spot check.
We would have to have, yes, we would have to have people spot check, that's one of the reasons.
And in any system, you should have people spot checking, correct?
Yes,
No matter what, if you're using paper-based, you should have people spot checking, correct?
right,
When you're using e-ledger, you should have people spot checking?
yes,
And if you're using EBT cards, you should have people spot checking?
yes,
And if you're using the finger scan, you're gonna have to have people spot checking?
yes.
Okay. So then, and you would have to have people to spot check because why? You don't know that the child is actually at the center, correct?
When parents scan in, we are hoping that they are dropping their children off for care.
But we want to eliminate fraud and people who deal in falsity. And, you wanna hope, but you have that same hope that when they use a EBT card, that the child is actually at the center, correct?
We hope that that would be the case, but through the biometric system, we feel that that is more valid than the EBT cards.
Now, in your economic impact statement, you didn't bother to say what the cost would be for the computer. And the phone services, did you?
They already use a computer to be able to submit their e-letters. So I didn't see a reason to put that in there.
But it's still a cost, isn't it, Dr. Dent?
If they choose to have that at their center,
It's, but they have to have it to participate in this program, correct?
a computer,
Yes.
no,
Okay, so they have to have phone line.
they have to phone
Okay.
number.
Okay,
internet.
and no matter which one it is, it's a cost, right?
For a valid business is a cost, yes.
But it doesn't say for valid businesses, it asks you to estimate the cost or benefit, right?
For a phone line,
For any cost that's gonna be associated with the program.
the only cost that a provider would have to incur, for a licensed provider, there's no direct cost for them. Because they should already have a phone line.
They should.
They should.
Okay. And why should they have one?
I think it's important that they have a phone line so that if children are sick, they can call their parents.
But all phone lines don't, just because you have a phone line in your business doesn't mean that you're gonna have, that you're gonna be able to tie that phone line down so that when parents are coming in to scan, that phone line, could be used for scanning, right? Because you might have a sick child.
But then there's the splitter that we offer so that we can plug a phone in and they can use their phone at the same time.
And there's some costs associated with that, correct?
A splitter,
Well, not with the splitter, but, with the phone, with the lines.
it's just one line.
Okay, with one line?
It's just one line. They can use the phone and the machine on the same line.
Are there other costs, Dr., you've gone over with Mr. Miracle, the costs. Are there other costs besides the phone line and the internet service to, childcare providers?
No.
Have you ever seen that document?
No.
What is the title on the document? If you look on page 140.
Objection, testified she's never seen this, this appears to be something from the Louisiana Register, it's hearsay,
But Yana, I would like to have this marked and put into the record because she says she relied on the data and methodology from Louisiana, and we have Louisiana's economic impact report, where they report things that Dr. Dent does not include in her report.
Sister?
So we can have it marked.
No.
Now, Dr. Dent, did you ask Louisiana when you were coming up with the data? Well, did you ask Louisiana about the startup costs for their program?
No.
So you don't know what it costs to start up their program?
No.
But we know that it took $4 million to start e-care, childcare in Mississippi.
E-Childcare?
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Well,
It
yes.
started up.
Okay, well, yesterday, that was the cost for the program. From, the time that you brought the e-ledger to when you spent the money for, the devices, the scanning devices, plus the $1.6 million.
That's not $4 million.
Well, it's very close to it, right?
It's not $4 million.
Well, how much is it?
It's 3.3.
13 plus 7? That'd be two.
E-ledgers is, the e-ledger and the eligibility system is not part of e-Childcare.
Well, you testified that they were that it was yesterday, correct?
No.
Check the characterization of that testimony. That was questions posed to her. That's not her testimony.
All right, I'll sign it.
And is your testimony today that there is no other cost associated that child care providers will have to pay besides the internet lines and the telephone lines?
They should already have a phone line, so it's not an incurred cost because of this program.
But when you pay your bill every every month, that's a cost, right?
It's a cost of business.
That's right, but now they're having to do business, your business, or use your program and use their phones to do the e-Childcare, right?
They don't have to, it's a
Okay.
choice.
So they can just leave the program. Is that what you're suggesting? The parents can just, the child care providers, you said the program was voluntary. You said the program was voluntary, correct?
The child care certificate program is voluntary for providers as well as parents.
So then if they don't want to, use their telephones or pay for internet services, they can simply leave the program.
That's their business decision.
Okay. And you're not worried about the number of children that may be lost?
The children can be transferred to another center if that provider chooses not to participate in the program any longer.
Now, how many licensed centers do you have in Mississippi?
Well, there's usually there's about 15 to 1600 typically. I think there's about 1600 right now.
Now, yesterday you told us that there were 500 in-home providers, right?
There's 400, yes.
400 in-home providers? And so this other 3,100 right here, businesses that would be, the number of business that would be subject to the proposed regulation, this other 3,100?
Your Honor.
What businesses are those?
This is outside the scope of redirect, but it's also a mischaracterization of testimony that Ms. Ross asked her questions about unlicensed centers. There was testimony about how many there were, but again,
I'll sustain this to your first objection outside the scope of cost.
On the child care providers, you're saying that there is no other cost besides the telephone line?
I'm saying that there is no cost to licensed providers.
And so the 3,100, is there 3,100 licensed providers in Mississippi?
No?
Okay, 1,600?
Licensed through the health department.
And would you identify that document, please?
This is the provider agreement form.
And is this the same form that providers got from Xerox, except that your name has been, Mississippi Department of Human Services name is in the place of Xerox's name?
not check it's outside the scope of cost.
All right.
It goes into cost, and he asked her about the cost when he was examining her, Your Honor, and she's testified that that's the only cost, and there are additional costs that go up in this agreement.
Could have addressed that on the red. Sustain.
Your Honor, the exhibits, no, you're sustaining the objections, but I just can't harm my exhibits that I'm trying to get in just for myself, so the court will see.
No, you can read into another witness if you have, but otherwise let's stay on the road.
So I'll be allowed to bring somebody to get me? Dr. Dent, you were asked about the EBT cards, and you said it would be a waste of time? waste of money to use the EBT card. But yet you spend time talking to Oklahoma that uses the EBT card for their child care program.
We wanted to compare both systems.
Is there anything here that we can use to show Mississippi's program and compare it to Oklahoma? Anything in the economic impact statement?
We don't have an fully implemented system yet.
Now, you were asked about the alternative methods that you said that were considered, correct?
Yes.
And you said that there were some, the EBT card being one of them?
Yes.
Okay. But you don't tell us anything about the cost or the benefits of the EBT card compared to the finger scan, do you?
I described the drawbacks and the reasons that we did not want to use it.
But can you tell us anything about the cost?
No, because we did not look at the cost at the time because it was not, the benefits were not great enough for us to look at we knew about the cost, but we did not, go forward because of the drawbacks.
So in rejecting the EBT, the use of the EBT system, you did not even look at, you didn't even consider the cost of the program.
We did look at the cost,
Okay.
but we felt that the drawbacks of the project, of that type of program were not big enough to be able to use it.
You said it would have been a waste of funds to use the EBT card, right?
Yes.
But yet here when it's asking you to give the cost, you don't provide a cost.
I did not, because we were not going to utilize that program, we were going to utilize biometric.
So it wasn't the cost of the EBT that caused you to reject it, correct?
Right, the program is not as valid as a